Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to make some little rosebuds. To make these I've used this punch. So if you've got any 5-petal flower punch with the petals cut quite deep down to the centre, you'll be able to do this. All we need to do is punch 4 of those. When we've got 4, I pop them down onto my mat and take a embossing tool. I place them. Each piece of cardstock has a textured and a rough side, so I put 3 up and 1 face down. The one that's face down will become the very centre of the rose, and these ones will be the other petals. All we need to do is take our embossing tool, and you actually have a couple of ways you can do it. You can either do tiny little circles all around that petal, moving in towards the centre, or you can, if you've got a very thick soft mat like this one, just push your tool in to the paper all the way around the edges and down the middle in towards the very centre. And what you're trying to do is achieve this ruffle and curving of each petal. You just continue that with each of the petals until you've done the entire flower. And then you're going to repeat that on all 4 pieces. So that's what you end up with. And when you repeat that 4 times, you end up with this. So once you've got those all ready, it's time to stick them together. Now, the one that has the textured paper on the outside, where is it? There's one, will be our centre. Now at this point I open it up a little bit and I put a drop of glue into the centre of this one, if my glue will work. And the reason I put glue into the centre of this one is because I really want the centre of the rosebud to be really tight. With the others though, we won't do it like that. Okay, so I put a dab of glue in the centre, and then I form the rose centre up really tightly, and then pinch the bottom together and just shape the hat with my fingers so that I have a really tight centre. Once I've got that really tight centre, I can then start to build the rest of the flower around it. So I turn it upside down, pop glue on the bottom, and then I'm going to take another one of these ones that I've shaped and I'm going to place it over the top. You can see there's a petal there and a petal there, and there's a gap between those 2 petals. I want to place a full petal over that gap between the last 2 petals, and then form this one around it. So I'm gluing it on from the bottom up, if you like. Now, just like at this point, to form it in really tightly, and then I'm going to add another drop of glue. As far as glue, I like to use a clear sort of gummy glue. A hot glue gun works really well also. Now again, take a full petal and lay it over the gap between 2 petals on the last piece. Form it up tightly. And then repeat that again. And when you do this, you can use 3 layers, 4 layers or 5 layers. I've used 4 here. The more layers you use, the fuller the piece looks. So at this point I just squeeze that in tightly, and then I would sit that aside to dry. Once it's dry, you have a little flower that looks like this, which looks quite nice. But to just make it look a little bit more like a rose, I'm going to take a toothpick and I'm going to put my fingernail in behind a petal, lay it on the toothpick, and then just gently roll. And all we're going to do is just go right around the flower and roll out that outer layer. When you do these, you could leave it like that, or you can come back and do the same thing to the next layer. And I like to do it on a few layers. I alternate when I'm putting a lot of these on a layout how many layers I do. So I might do 2 layers on one flower, 3 on another, and that just gives you that very natural look. So roses all open up at different stages, so it's fine to just leave it at any point, but I'll show you what it looks like when you do them all. Just remember though, you don't want to do the very centre piece. I just curl the very edges of those petals. I don't roll the whole thing out. There you can see that's a rosebud. Very pretty, and you can use all of your scraps of paper to make those. So, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks very much. Now, one of the other things that you can do is you can make some leaves to go with that. And often when you're making your own flowers, one of the things that's always missing is some leaves. I like to, I haven't got a lot of cardstock there, but I'll show you what I mean. I like to punch another one with that punch, but this time out of a green cardstock, and I then go around and I just snip off the very ends of the petals with a set of decorative edge scissors. So that'll give you a reason to dig out all those scissors that you bought when you first started scrapbooking and you haven't used since. And you're going to do the same thing. Now this time I place the cardstock textured side down, and first of all I repeat that same process of curling up each of the petals. When that's done, I then turn it over, flatten it out on my mat, pop my tool in the middle and push down hard. Then I've got a perfect set of leaves for my rosebud. So I hope you enjoy that. Give it a go. I love making these. I find they're a great little flower to tuck in amongst some of your larger ones. And there. And especially with those leaves added, it just looks really pretty and delicate. So there you go. Enjoy. I'll get back to making some more. I'm always making these. Lots and lots and lots of them. I do like to make them in white though. Usually if I'm watching TV, I will sit and make these while watching television, and I make a lot of them in white, and then I just spray them with glimmer mist to match my layouts. So that way I can have a stack of them all sitting there ready and waiting, and pull them out when I need them. I also find it's a great way to use up all the scraps of paper that you have left over from projects. And I really love that when you make these flowers, you can make them out of any paper that you're using on your layout, and that will give your layout real cohesion, and your colour scheme is definitely going to match. The lighter the paper you use will give you a more delicate flower again. So there you go. Enjoy.